How are you?
I'm good. Nice to be back. Good to be back and have everyone back in the space together. And we're at this important point where we're at the end and we're beginning to reflect on Create Fest, what took place, and then the learning that took place, and how the students can then translate that into their own learning, and then also thinking about maybe the future. What could be the future of Create Fest as well?
Hi.
Welcome back.
Yeah,
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
And how do you feel now to come back again to the Create Fest and just review all the things that you've been through?
Yeah, it feels really great, and I love the reflection process, and I like to look back on what we did and to see how we can improve it and make it even better than it was before.
My experience in Create Fest was amazing. It was amazing from beginning to end.
I feel very nostalgic, to be fair, in a good way, not sad way, because it's like we've been like viewing again all of the experience that we had, and actually we did so many things in like just few time, like really tiny time. So,
Yeah, I think like for me it was like quite a personal piece that I held like really close to my chest, and kind of had this vision of how I wanted it to be portrayed on the stage. But then to learn that other people's input could like bring new life to it and give it a different take that maybe is like even more important to an audience than just my own idea.
How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Welcome back again.
Thank you. You too.
How do you feel?
Feels good to be back. Yeah.
How was the first part of the review?
Well, yeah, it was fun to see all the things we did. Yeah.
So it was absolutely brilliant, and also as well. Final point in terms of what I felt about it was it kind of gave me an idea, a goal. You come to class and you sit down and you look at books and you read, but you don't really feel that end game, that end result. And this kind of gave you the idea of what is possible for you, what you're going towards. So in terms of studies now, for example, if we'd done this before we had done, let's say, Greek theatre and the chorus and things like that, I think I would have been more engaged in the lessons, more engaged in the class, because I know now the importance of what it is to put on the stage and why it's there and how it's there and so forth. So double thumbs up.
As I said, it was interesting because we didn't have much time, so we had to work very quickly, and our work was mainly based on improvisation. We had to like be brave and go straight into it. And I think when we do something like very quickly out of nowhere, things happen quicker, and it sort of gives us other ideas instead of like thinking of something, how we can do it for a very long time, and then we don't come up with that many things. So yeah, I feel like it gave us this short amount of time that we had. It gave us many other ideas that we could maybe develop in the piece and outside the piece.
So I think because it happened so early on in our uni experience, it gives us a great foundation to feel confident going forward. Whereas if we are doing something like this right at the end of our studies, there's so much pressure to like get it right and to be on top of things and like for it to be perfect. Whereas this was a way to like gently kind of grow us through the whole experience.
I learned a lot about myself and others on my course and the courses that we collaborate with. And I learned that I still enjoy theater, which is a great new knowledge for me. And I learned that I can do things with my art that were not unimaginable before.
It was brilliant working with people from different courses, because they just brought another element to I worked with a guy who was Nigerian and Polish, and it was never met someone who's Nigerian and Polish before. I was working with a girl who was American, and they just bring something so much more to what you've got to offer, and challenge you as well. They challenge who you are, and they're quite passionate about it, and it's lovely to be around other people who are passionate about something. So yeah, it was top draw.
The fact that it was very uncertain with the time pressure was definitely something that we don't get in other learning. That fact that we had to quickly learn how other people work and find a common way of working together. That we needed to complete something in like only 2 days from sheer of nothing to something, and that we all work together as against the common time element, like as an enemy. Like we have to get something that is worth sharing in short amount of time out of nothing is something that is really hard to achieve in any other learning experience, especially in a way that is challenging, but challenging in a way that gets people excited to work towards that.
I guess we were able to like think more openly in terms of like creativity and what we could bring and how we could answer the concept, rather than being like, I need to hit this mark because that's going to equal this grade. So from a creative perspective, it was really like exciting and interesting in that way. I guess that leaves it up to interpretation, and there's a whole heap of array of different performances that came about because of that, whereas it might have like narrowed the experience if we were trying to hit a brief.
Yeah.
I learned art is worth it, and it's not for lazy people. You have to work. You have to really work.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
I would definitely take back the decision making, because up to that point I've been known to go back and forth. But when we had a day and a half, there wasn't time you had to make decisions, and once you make that decision, stick with it and give it your all. So I definitely take that into all my assessments. I also take being open to not just pushing my ideas forward, but to listen to everyone else's ideas. Everyone's come from a different place, which I really loved working with the creative writing people, because I've only worked with the people from my course, so to hear their view on how they perceive theatre and how they can help us with the writing part was, really incredible to work with, actually. Yes, I'll take that.
Organisation, research, background work, a lot of this.
I will take away the trust. Like, there was a lot of trust with people, like, we have the same goal, so I'm gonna trust you and your expertise, that you know what is best for this, and you do what you do best, I do what I do best, and we trust each other that we're good enough and creative enough that when you put those things together, we can create something that is actually cool to share.
Interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day.
You too.
I think it's exactly this, like quick looking into the project and like just throwing in different ideas and then just maybe experimenting with them to see where they can take us.
I mean, yeah, because I had to, like, obviously I was people who I've worked with before, but also there's people who I'd never seen before, and that was kind of like pushing myself to, get along very quickly, because we had a very short amount of time to put these performances into play. So
probably a bit more open-minded to think about like what other students from other years or other groups or other courses could maybe like help me and contribute to like my experience here.
Without doubt, structure is key. For me, structure, organisation is key to understanding work, to producing work, because you sell yourself short if you don't focus on structure in terms of your creativity. The two go hand in hand.
I guess just push myself further, and kind of, if something goes wrong, which it did happen in the performance, just kind of keep going, feed off it.
Maybe to like not be afraid and like hold back and not like judge myself, to like put things out there and see how it feels, because I guess it's a safe environment in university in a way that like you're not in the real world, in a sense that you could be judged or it could ruin your career, that this is a place to be able to like develop ideas Yeah.
It's gonna be
I
like
mean,
that.
it was the first time that it happened, and so there was no way that it could ever be perfect, and there was a lot of learning for me to things that I might change. The main thing that I would always want more of is a bit more time together. I think we were really we started that networking, that collaboration, and the free form of artistic growth, and it would be wonderful to maybe bring these students back together to see where it could go, or to have new students, but to give them a bit more time to be able to continue to develop the skills that they need to not only make theatre work or performances, but to also the skills that they can then use in more challenging assessments and part of their academic studies at London Met as well.
If you were going to change something in Create Fest for the next time, what would you change?
Maybe we'll do more of this. Maybe we'll be braver, and maybe we'll add more things into it, because we didn't have much time, and we were more worried about not coming up with anything. But maybe we'll just go in it quickly and braver.
I
Or we
think.
should just stick with that we had.
Yeah, so the changes that we could have, I think mainly the time frame, because it was a really short time to be able to create something. So I think if we allow more time for the creative process to take place, then it will be much better. The end result would be better.
I would say more time, but also kind of the time kind of helps with the expectations of the Create Fest itself, because I remember Jacek was giving us feedback, and he said since it was such a short amount of time, the expectations weren't really high, which is kind of good because it all turned out so great. But also, if you gave us more time, I think we would even surpass those expectations, but also those expectations.
I will make it longer. I will make it last longer. Obviously, because this was the first touching of the project, so it's alright. But I will make it longer, so that we have more time to achieve more, to open up our potential further. And I would try to engage more, even more people. So if it's more time, same amount of people as for time. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think the question should be if we're going to do Create Fest again. I think the question should be when we do Create Fest again. It is, as I said, I think Create Fest adds at least another 15% into each student, their ability to pursue a career in the arts. Again, when we do Create Fest again, it gives students the ability to have hope and belief and direction into what they are wanting to get out of the course, which for me is so much. Yeah, again, just to reiterate what I said before, we go to lessons, we sit down, we read our books, we go to our theatres and things like that, but to get the ability to physically produce something really does enhance your studies and makes you see why you're reading that text, why you're reading this book, why you're getting involved in this genre and field of study at that particular time. So it is priceless.
How do I feel about it? God, I feel so many things about it. It was an idea that happened, that kind of popped into my head, and through conversations with different colleagues of mine a really long time ago, probably something like a year ago now, and I really wanted to find a really interesting and exciting way for students to develop the skills that they need to really flourish within higher education. And I wondered if there were other opportunities beyond the boundaries of their modules and their assessments, and how that extracurricular and co-curricular activity could feed into it. So the way I'm feeling about it is that I feel a great sense of pride that it's happened and that it was a successful project. I feel a great sense of relief that it's done, and I feel excited about it. I feel that this really has legs, and this could, after a rework and an evaluation with the students as our partners, to be able to make it into something that could be bigger and better than what it was before. That would be a really interesting experiment to see to see what other students, what other talents there are within Met, within not only within art, architecture and design, but within the other schools as well, to see if anybody would want to participate and would be up for the rigour of it as well, because it's not an easy thing. There's a lot of commitment, a lot of time, a lot of energy, and your emotions are really within it as well. So yeah, I would love to have that experiment to see if that could work.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
My pleasure as always.